I didn't bring any water. Hi, my little flavors. Welcome to another episode of the Motley Stew Show, where we take a look at some of the big stories in news and politics, take a step outside of the echo chamber, and try to figure out what's really going on. Now, a majority of the time, the stories we're looking at come right from here, the good old US of A. But today we're traveling across the globe to India to take a real stark look at how far as a species we still need to come. Now, disclaimer, a lot of these places I don't know exactly how to pronounce, so if I mess them up, those people who are native to that area or know how to say it, please forgive me. In a place called the Baghat district in Uttar Pradesh, India, a 23-year-old woman named Meenakshi Kumari and her 15-year-old sister were sentenced to be gang raped, paraded through the streets naked in their village with their faces blackened. Now, if that sentence alone for any crime whatsoever isn't enough to get your skin crawling and your blood boiling, it's going to get a little bit worse when you hear that this crime isn't even one that they committed. It was a man named Ravi, their brother. He did the unthinkable act of running away with a married woman and eloping. To make things worse, she was actually part of a higher social class, so this made the crime that much more important for the elders to make an example out of. And to make matters even worse, the family had to escape their village because members of that upper social class and the police were harassing them, terrorizing them, burglarizing their home, and actually they moved themselves in to their family home in another effort to get them to leave. Now, I know some of you out there might be thinking, oh my god, that sounds like some 14th century kind of bullshit. And guess what? You're exactly right. Now, the upper class that I mentioned before is called the Jat. And back in the 14th century, in an effort to consolidate their power, they created something called the Kap Panchayat, which is a local council of all male members that covers a cluster of villages connected by caste and geography. Now, this non-elected group has any number of rules, including prohibiting marrying for love, marrying anybody in the same clan, or marrying anybody in the same village, among any number of things. Now, to enforce these rules, they bring out any number of weapons, including social boycotts of family-run businesses, monetary fines, and even so far as making the convicted person kill themselves. Some of the victims, guilty or not, choose that as their first route to avoid the shame and torment just from being accused. So the woman I mentioned earlier that ran away with Ravi was part of this upper social class, and she was forced into an arranged marriage by her family. But at the time, she was already in love with Ravi, so they ran away. But when they found out about the punishment being handed down on his sisters and his family, they came back in hope that that punishment would either be wiped away or at least brought to bear on the right people. But that's not how things work in that part of the world where they still have honor killings. Now, Ravi's family, including the two sentenced sisters, are part of the Dalit class, otherwise known as the Untouchables. When the sentence was handed down, they fled to Delhi, to the Supreme Court of India, hoping to gain some sort of protection from them. Now, the Supreme Court sent out a note to the local council in those villages, but as of the time of the filming of this video, nothing has been returned back. And the family can't return home because of the assurance that if they do, those sisters will be punished. Now, to be clear, the India legal system does not recognize the Kap Panchayats in any manner. But the police are hard-pressed to do anything about this because they're very, very powerful in the rural areas of India. Even the politicians are still afraid of them because the Jat caste is still powerful, and that includes in the capital. Now, Amnesty International has actually launched a petition to bring awareness to this case, not only because of what's happening to these girls, but the continued abhorrent practice of using rape as a tool to control the population. Amnesty International wants to protect these girls, but also protect all women around the world who continually are under the threat of rape. A recent documentary by the BBC called India's Daughter shows the incendiary epidemic of rape in the country of India and the sickeningly slow movement by the people in power there to change that. Now, it's not only a political change, but a cultural one as well, but the people of the country seem at least ready to take that step, but the politics, the people in power, are dragging their feet. Now, we as people need to be vigilant, not only in our local areas, but in places all around the world, to continually be on the lookout for these nightmarish practices and the continuing devaluation of women across all cultures. Now, I know it is not our right to burst our way through everybody's borders and tell them how to run their country and their culture, and I wouldn't want to do that. But any place that we do see this kind of injustice, we do have a duty to shine a light on it so bright that we make it crawl back to the dark ages where it belongs. If you want to help shine some of that light, please think about clicking the link below to that petition from Amnesty International. So my question for this week is, what else would you do to help in a case like this? Or another case from another country that you really want to shine a light on? Would you call your senator, your congressman? Would you call your local news? Or would you maybe just talk to your friends and get it spread through word of mouth? Let me know in the comments down below. So thanks again for watching another episode of the Motley Stew Show. If you haven't subscribed yet, here's the button you can do that with. You can also like, favorite, or share this video to anyone you think would like to add their flavor to the stew. Stay tuned for next week, and as always, here's your little bit of Logan.
Ready?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
You W sure?
Mm-hmm.
Hear that dog? I don't know if you hear that dog. Is there construction going on out there? Is there really construction going on right now?